More than 100 years after a Coast Guardsman from Muskegon was killed in action during World War I, his family finally has his Purple Heart.
It was awarded today in Grand Haven during the Coast Guard Festival. 13 on your sides. Phil Dawson is here now with who he was, how he died, and who accepted that Purple Heart, Phil.
Nick, his name was Francis Scott. He was serving on the Coast Guard cutter Tampa in World War I when it was sunk by a torpedo fired from a German submarine. Today at the Coast Guard Festival, his great niece accepted the Purple Heart, awarded to all U.S. service members wounded or killed in combat.
It's my honor and privilege to be able to award the Purple Heart to Fireman Francis Scott's great niece.
I'm just so overwhelmed and honored. It's a gift that I never anticipated. My name is Karen Simons, and I'm the great niece of Francis R. Scott.
26-year-old Francis Scott was one of the 115 men who went down with the ship in 1918 when the Coast Guard cutter USS Tampa was sunk by a German submarine during World War I.
When he joined the Coast Guard, he knew that World War I was underway. He knew he would likely go to a cutter and face the enemy in dangerous situations, and he did it anyway.
This is Francis. He grew up in Lakeside in Muskegon, and this was in the Muskegon Chronicle on a Monday, October 21st of 18.
Francis Scott and his neighborhood friend William Williams enlisted together on June 5th, 1918, and died together when the Coast Guard cutter Tampa went down on September 26th, 1918.
War causes heartache. It causes pain.
The military started awarding the current version of the Purple Heart in World War II, but nobody from the USS Tampa was included until 1999.
Unfortunately, Tampa was overlooked. Today, over 100 years after Tampa was lost, the Coast Guard is still attempting to identify those families who have yet to receive their ancestors' Purple Heart.
I am honored to accept it on behalf of my grandparents.
The Coast Guard is still trying to locate about 50 families of the men who died on the USS Tampa and give them their Purple Hearts. Nick?